Here's a wild one. A 31-year-old listener in LA swipes through a dating app and spots her best friend's boyfriend on there. Does she tell her or stay quiet? Well, I'm chatting with Rodney, a licensed marriage therapist and expert dating coach, along with Renee, an advertising analyst who knows how to read between the lines, to break down the best way to handle this situation. You don't want to miss this one. Stay tuned for some solid advice. And the episode starts now.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to 52, the podcast where we give you the tips, tools, and mindset to make dating and relationships work for you. I'm Kelly, a technology attorney here in New York.
I'm Rodney Rabani, marriage and family therapist in Los Angeles, as well as a relationship and dating coach.
And today, we're going to tackle a question submitted by one of our listeners who's single and trying to navigate the often confusing dating world. In answering the question, we're going to provide some tips to help you successfully date and meet your special someone. And joining us today to help us answer the question is a very special guest. She's a single, savvy advertising analyst who knows how to break down the data. And she's bringing that sharp insight to help us answer one of our listeners' submitted questions. So please join me in welcoming Renee. Hey, Nay, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good. Coming from New York City. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Kel and Ronnie, for having me.
We're so excited to have you here. And for our listeners that are single, grab your coffee or your tea and get ready to learn how to date with intention. And for our listeners that are in a relationship, we hope this helps you to further appreciate your special someone and maintain your relationship. So on that note, Renee and Rodney, are you guys ready to dive in?
Absolutely.
All right. So we have a question from a 31-year-old single girl in Beverly Hills. When she was on a dating app recently and viewing singles nearby, she came across a profile of a very familiar face, and it happened to be her friend's boyfriend. Now, she explained that she's not best friends, BFF with this girl, with this friend of hers, but that she's friendly enough where she feels kind of stuck in a position of whether or not she should tell her about seeing him on the app. So what should she do? Should she tell her friend that she saw her boyfriend on the dating app?
And initially, my thought was, I was going to say, like, yes, he needs to tell the girl. But then when you said she's not close friends to her, I was like, oh, I don't know. Because sometimes I feel like in situations like these, it's better to kind of mind your own business. Like, if it was my best friend, I would 100%, of course, be like, I saw your boyfriend on a dating app. Why is he on this? But if it's somebody like what are we talking about? Are we saying like they're friends or they're friendly? Like, I think that the girl's relationship is important, because if they're just like friendly,
Let's first differentiate between the two.
He's right. The significance here is how close are you with this person? That changes everything.
Mm-hmm. So let's say they're not best friends. Let's say they're friends who happen to go to group dinners together, birthdays together, whatever, but they're not like BFF.
I have my answer. I don't know, Rodney, if you're gonna like this, but like I would probably tell a girl that I'm closer to that's a mutual friend of hers. So like you said, group dinners. So I'm just thinking of my own group of friends. Obviously, you're closer to some girls than you are to others. And so I'd probably go to my closest friend in that group. And if she was close to that girl too, I'd kind of tell her what I saw and then wait for her advice to be like, this is how you should handle it, or kind of put it on her shoulders and let her handle it. Because I feel like if I'm not super close to this girl, it's not really my business and it's not really my place. It might be somebody's place who's a little closer to her.
That makes sense. Roddy, what's your take? Let's hear it.
I said he wouldn't like my answer.
Let's hear it.
Crazy about that.
I know. I knew before I said it.
Okay.
It's all good.
In an ideal setting, that's great, and it would work well if it did work well that way. Usually, that's how I also see some rumors and stuff starting as well. Not that I'm saying that's your intention, but it gets out of hand, I think, right?
Like when too many cooks are in the kitchen kind of thing. Like when there's too many people involved, the message gets lost kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then she's going to tell the other friend in the group, and then the other friend might tell the other friend, and now it might turn into something else that you didn't want it to.
So, Rodney, like in this situation, when someone spots their friend's boyfriend or girlfriend on a dating app, what factors should they consider before deciding whether or not to say something?
How close of a friend it is. If it's a really close, only if it's a very, very close friend. Even if it's like a good friend, I would still say not to get involved.
Also, like, not to, like, give the boyfriend the benefit of the doubt, because I would freak out if I saw my friend's boyfriend on there. But you also don't know. I'm just speaking both sides here. You don't know the guy. Maybe the guy forgot to delete it. If you're not close to this person, you don't want to cause bad blood, between
Exactly.
anybody when you don't really know the person, the boyfriend, when you don't really know the circumstances surrounding it. So, like, you also have to think about those factors. Like, maybe he, like, just forgot to delete his app, and then, you know what I mean? So,
So, Renee, I was just gonna say, I remember seeing someone who was married on the dating app, but I'll admit, I didn't say anything, but it happens a lot, and I heard about this more recently, more with guys, honestly, than with girls, at least from what I've seen. Guys don't realize that when they delete the app, that doesn't delete their profile. So when they go to delete, when they start dating someone or getting serious, they go to delete it, they immediately assume I'm deleting the app, everything is getting deleted, but that's not the case. So whoever's listening to our listeners, guys, especially, well, girls too, but please, our listeners, when you're going to delete your profile, you need to go on the app and actually click deactivate my account and then delete the app, because they're still on there.
Yep.
I have a question. What are your guys' thoughts on if like the person who found the profile confronted the guy, so confronted the friend's boyfriend, like in a kind of like in a joking way? You said like yeah, like you're all at a party or whatever, and like you go up to him just quietly with nobody around and just say, "By the way, so funny, I saw your profile on my Hinge," as a joke.
Yeah, Rodney, would that be okay?
No.
Privately? What about privately?
I'll tell you why. This is why it's not the best idea to tell even the girl, okay? Because what do you think is going to happen if you tell the girl? Most likely. Let's say you're not that close.
There's going to be
She's gonna
tension.
confront the guy.
They might get it.
Yeah.
She's going to confront the guy. She's going to throw under the bus?
You.
Right.
And they're going to make up. They're most probably going to make up, right? If he's a douchebag, they're probably going to make up. He's going to schmooze himself out of it. This is something that I see time and time again and again. You're going to be the bad guy. So you don't want that, right? And same thing, if you go and tell this guy, hey, who knows? He might make you the fall person in some way. You just don't want to get involved.
So, Rodney, we said this earlier, but just again, how close does the friendship need to be before you feel compelled to share this kind of information?
Your sister or cousin.
Friend,
or best friend?
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen, this is what I saw. And you don't, at that point, you really don't care if you get thrown under the bus. I wouldn't care if it's my best friend.
I think also with a best friend telling a best friend, there's already this foundation of like loyalty, honesty,
trust,
like
I love you, I have your back.
A very strong relationship is already there. With an acquaintance or a friend or somebody you don't really see all the time, how well do you guys really, really know each other? A best friend to a best friend is a whole different story. So I agree with that. Yeah.
I promise you, more often than not, if you tell that girl, she'll confront him, they'll fight for a day, and he'll make her hate you. And he will think you're the bitch that tried to ruin the relationship and blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying?
So then, Fanny, how do you approach this kind of sensitive situation without causing unnecessary drama?
You don't.
How does she tell her friend? But if they're BFF, how does she tell her friend? How does she start it?
Meet up. You call right then and there. You say, hey, this is very transparent. I mean, maybe you meet up and you tell her, listen, I'm so sorry. This is what I saw. Here. I even screenshotted whatever it is. I don't know.
So in this kind of situation, though, you definitely do not recommend having a conversation with the guy first to see
Absolutely
if he's actively seeking dates or if he does this,
no.
if he's lying to
He's
her
gonna,
friend.
That's
he's gonna,
also
he,
just prying into his business. Like
yeah,
you're it's not that you're not entitled to that, but like it's his what is your place in his business in his life? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like I feel like that's overstepping. You're crossing
Or
a
he might even
boundary.
throw you under the bus. He
Yeah.
might go, like, can you believe this crazy girl spreading this rumor about me? Blah. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, great, guys. And that's a wrap on today's episode of 52. So a big thank you to our amazing guest, Renee, for joining us today and helping us break down that tricky dating dilemma. Your insights today as a single and successful advertising analyst really gave us a fresh perspective. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I really had so much fun. And I also learned so much. So thank you.
Huge thank you to you, Ronnie, for always bringing your expert dating wisdom and giving us so many valuable tips to navigate the modern dating world with confidence and intention. Ronnie, before we wrap up, where can our listeners find more of your work and connect with you? I'm sure they'll want to keep following you for more dating advice.
Of course. So I'm on Instagram, Rodney Rabani, and I share a lot of tips and dating things on my Instagram page. I also have a Facebook group called Question of the Day, which we talk about these issues all the time.
Awesome. Definitely check that out, everyone. And to our listeners, a big shout out to all of you for tuning in. If you have your own dating questions or topics you'd like for us to cover in future episodes, click on the link in the captions and submit your question. We love hearing from you, and who knows, your story might be featured on our next show. So if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share with your friends because we all know love is better when it's shared. Remember, whether you're dating, in a relationship, or just figuring it out, 52 is here to help you navigate it all. So until next time, keep your hearts open and your minds clear. Bye, guys. Thanks for joining.
Bye.
The content in this podcast is for entertainment and is not mental health, medical, or personal relationship counseling. It is not a substitute for professional expertise and judgment from a licensed healthcare or mental health professional. You should seek the advice of a qualified professional when seeking mental health or medical advice to obtain a diagnosis or any treatment regarding your mental health or well-being. The content in this podcast may not be applicable to you and your specific situation. Topics discussed in this podcast may include information that may be considered sensitive or emotionally charged to some people, and therefore listener discretion is advised. References to third-party resources are for informational purposes only, and 52 Inc. takes no responsibility for the content of those resources. This podcast is copyrighted 2025 by 52 Inc., all rights reserved.